dudes were out there just writing these lyrics to, bro. That's it's madness thing. But tonight we're back at it again. A very good evening to whoever you're finding yourself. Welcome to it. This is NBC National Fair. My name is Franklin, your girlfriend's favorite DJ, keeping you company till 12. And tonight we take a look at women of substance. I think the guest is absolutely just the perfect match. You know what I mean? Like from like a holistic approach, Fidel.
Yo, man,
we got the right person to that, bro.
You know, definitely. The topic speaks louder than the word itself. Women of substance.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, if you look at the title itself, women of substance, and I went online and I'm like, what does this mean?
Yeah.
I'm like, you know, when I read about it, it exactly describes her.
Yeah.
Our guest tonight in the studio, because this is just not an ordinary word. But if you actually look at it, you'd be thinking a woman of substance, you know, what does it mean? You know, some other people will be thinking substance, like, you know, substances.
All right.
And then I'm like, no, not that. You know, we're talking about a woman.
Yeah.
MAN, woman of substance.
Legit.
That's what describes her. So that's why we decided that we're going to talk about this tonight. So this is the message from a woman herself to other women or to another woman. You know, it's because we want to actually convey the message specifically to women.
Yeah.
You know, from our guest tonight, so that she can actually somehow talk about her background as well, and how she came from where she came from, how we knew her, until the point where she is right now. You know, it's been an interesting journey, because when I went online, I mean, if you can hear all these jam papers out here, there is so much about her.
Yeah.
Now that tells you that, you know, this was a journey that she had to travel. You know, so that's the reason why we just thought, you know, tonight we need to just hear it directly from her.
You know what it is.
So you know what it says here, woman of substance. Let me just take it to discover what it means, a woman of substance.
Yeah.
Let's define the term, first of all, right?
Yeah.
It has a variety of meanings, of course. One is a substantial or solid character or quality.
Yeah.
Another definition can include consistency, body, and something that has separate or independent existence.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then based on these definitions, a woman of substance will be a woman who has strong character and is consistent, has more to her than that meets the eye, and has a variety of interests outside and within her home and family. She's interesting to get to know. She possesses a depth of personality and character. See?
That's a mouthful definition, man.
And our guest is smiling over here because she knows that I'm talking about her.
It's deep. I was gonna say deep for Del.
This is deep stuff, bro.
Yeah. You know, and then it continues, right? You know, where it says the woman
Page
of
number 2.
substance
It does.
is the one who does not claim that she's doing a job in an office,
Yeah.
and she does not claim that she holds a position at a leadership level. She, in fact, proclaims such statute. Only she happens to demonstrate that she's a contributor as a boss, team manager, coach, mentor, daughter, wife, mother, at 100% level in each segment.
That's a mouthful, bro.
Who are you talking about, Fidel?
Welcome to the studio.
Oh wow, that's
Welcome,
a
Plants.
mouthful.
Welcome to National FM.
I'm not gonna call you Franklin. I'm gonna say Fidelo Del.
That's what's up.
We come way back.
It's been a long,
How
man.
are we?
It's good to see you.
High five, high five.
It's good to see you. How was 2023?
It's been blessed so far. Franklin, how do
Yeah.
you do?
No. Rich,
Hey.
rich.
Yeah.
Always,
That's how we
always.
roll.
Yeah.
That that's a mouthful.
Hey, man, that describes
Is
you.
that what woman of substance means?
Yeah,
I'm
and that's it.
gonna
You know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about.
I'm not even half of that, but I'm humbled. Thank you.
Yeah.
You know, I always say when it's been 21 years and people still want to find out about you, you somehow are still relevant and still just honored and still making time to be here so that, you know, your journey can impact somebody else that might be listening. And I liked your ending part because, you know, I always say motivational speakers don't try to be motivational speakers. Their life speaks for itself. And what you do, you don't do it for, you know, the titles or positions. It's by saying that whatever you do it from the heart and you do it from experience. And my definition of a woman of substance is a woman that constantly, you know, faces battles without anybody knowing half of what she goes through. But she still puts on her beautiful red lipstick. She shows up, she rocks up, but she's, you know, battling every single day and doing it gracefully by God's grace. So that's my definition of woman of substance.
Yeah, and I just think when we spoke about 2 3 days ago, you're talking about more about your family. I think you became more of an introvert kind of person. You want to be
Private.
doing you,
Yes.
because you've been out there,
Mm.
trying to make everybody happy as well. You've worked with so many young people, and you have worked with so many people in the industry, on and off, whether it's music in the corporate industry. You have seen it all, and I think you, at some point in 2017, you decided to just lay back a little
Yeah.
bit and just take care of you.
Yes.
And but until today, you still look like yesterday. You're
Oh,
still young.
thank you. It's all the foundation, but thank you. It's the concealer, the eye concealer, but
I
thank
wanted
you.
to find out. Do you regard yourself as a go-getter? Do you regard yourself as if I want to get something, I'm gonna get it, regardless?
100%. I've always been that way. Whatever I put my mind to, I always say, this is what I want. How do I achieve it? What do I need to do? What do I need to get? How should I line up my ducks in order to accomplish that? And if it doesn't work out, you know what? I'm also that person that says, hey, maybe God didn't want it to happen. Maybe this shut door is going to open up to something else. So yes, I am a go-getter.
Yep.
And number two, I also accept things that aren't meant to be. And you should find that balance because, like so many people force things. It's like, I want to be on radio. And again, me being on radio, it's because I didn't get the part to be on radio on a drama series on UNM Radio. I didn't get that part. And I was so chuffed about it because I'm like, you know what? I wanted this role.
Yeah.
But that door closed and there I was doing my own radio show.
So you started off by UNM Radio, isn't it?
Yes.
You UNM Radio.
I wanted to do drama on radio, frankly.
Was that like around the time when Lomo the Prince was around at that?
That was even before.
It was before,
Guys,
Man,
guys,
UNM
I'm
UNM
furniture.
Radio was rocking, bro.
I'm furniture.
Yo.
That was way before. Yeah.
Yeah, they had the Susie and Shafa years ago. So many, different belated, radio personalities, the belated BK. They're the ones that really, saw the talent at radio, UNM Radio from Radio Energy to scout and poach, and then, later on move to Energy, and then later on do music with a very talented producer as well. So may his soul rest in peace.
I think the time that you came out, and then we started hearing the name Cutie.
Yeah.
I think everybody wanted to see how she looked like, because the name itself, number one, is catchy, and she's in the music industry, and we know everybody in the music industry. And then Cutie came out, and everybody was very curious. It's like, wow, when they saw her on television,
Did it match?
it did.
Yeah, no, look.
Did it match?
Yo,
Did I
man.
disappoint?
Excuse you, it didn't disappoint everybody.
So how did that name come, bro?
I'll tell you about
Let's have a
Okay,
conversation
Fidelio,
around
you
that.
tell me. How did it come about?
it. Okay, according to my boy K-Ball,
Yes, K-Biz.
I think, I'm not sure. I think you guys were either on the same show
Yeah.
or you were presenting one after the. I don't know. It was something about you guys doing a radio
Correct.
show together. I think it was
Correct.
on
So,
Energy at the time.
so
yeah.
K-Boz was the first person that I did my first radio show with. It was a breakfast show.
Yeah.
Him and Nancy. It was
Chichi.
no, not the belated Chichi. Her father is or was a lecturer at the University of Namibia, Prof. Mchombo. And so he's like, you got to get a radio name. So I'm like, radio name. So I'm like, okay, so what was your first impression of me when I walked through the door? So he's like, oh, you look kind of cute.
Okay.
Oh, okay, cute one. Cutie's catchy. So I'm like, okay, there you have it.
You guys, you would have
Yeah.
Imagine.
one.
Yeah.
It's a fly girl walking in. So just call her Beauty.
So who suggested I should get a radio name? Cable.
K-Boz.
Ah.
I mean, you don't say Bosley, you say it's
Yeah.
DJ K-Boz. And back then we had Fidel O'Dell.
That's
You
it.
know, we have stage names because it was, hip and hop and we were young.
Yeah, the names were more catchy.
Yeah.
So you went on the radio with your
Yeah, it's so
government
true,
name.
man. You guys names from way back.
Like, so we would have called you, if there was no Cutie, we would have
Yeah.
called you
Ilka Henrietta Platt.
on radio.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Like,
It sounds very formal, doesn't it?
yeah, I think.
For a Saturday morning breakfast, for a, countdown show.
Because when I was working on the poster, I mean, I had to confirm whether I can put the name Cutie on it because if you have to use it now,
yeah.
it kind of doesn't.
But now I'm a grown
I don't
woman
know.
with 2 kids. Like if somebody, many people still say cutie if you've known me for way back.
Yeah.
And my sons are
You
like,
still cool with that?
Mom, no, my sons are like, Mom, they calling you cutie. It's like, yes, son. Many things happened before you were born, but
Yeah.
yes.
So what are you currently doing?
A lot.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
I founded my company 6 years ago, Poya Media.
Yeah.
Poya, Popieni, my firstborn. Oya, my secondborn. That's why
Somebody
we
was asking
slaving
for that, what
away.
it means. Yeah.
Yeah, so we slaving away just to, pay bills for them. So 6 years ago, I jumped boat from corporate, the big insurance companies, and I decided, let me do my own thing. Let me start it up, and wasn't the easiest. Like in 2017, like you said, I just took a stand back to do me, to do life, to find myself again, just with me and my sons. And 6 years we've been blessed with business. Our doors are still open through COVID, which has been a blessing. And I think only now in the 6th year, we're really starting to pick up. And really starting to see some of, the fruit with the seeds that we planted 6 years back.
Yeah.
But it's gonna take like some level of tenacity, isn't it? Because it's not like you necessarily know. I mean, it's much easier to stay at a place to stay at a place where there's comfort, where there's like some sort of assurance, as opposed to simply saying, "Hey, man," because first of all, you've got kids, and they are never not going to be hungry. They will. So it's like to take a step like that has got to take a different level of guts, right?
Yes.
And so I think when I take a look at, was that decision just made not abruptly per se, or how long did that decision take to just come to that space?
If you were to ask me, did I ever see myself being an entrepreneur? No, never. I've always seen myself studying up until my doctorates, climbing up the corporate ladder and being content with that, because my dad was a pastor, my mom was a matron, so we weren't exposed to entrepreneurship. We weren't exposed to, okay, do your own job. Not at all. So no, it never crossed my mind.
Yeah.
Before I jumped boat, did I consider it? Yes, I considered it. Yes, my ex-husband is an entrepreneur. I saw the way that he's running his business. There's a lot of flexibility. Number 2, that also motivated me. And number 3, I just needed more time with my firstborn son, Popieni. Corporate was very restrictive. It's the rat race. You wake up, drop off the kids. It's lunchtime, drop off the kids. You don't even have time to watch them playing soccer or growing up. And I felt that was important for the first at least 5-6 years of their very fundamental age. So yes, I gave it some thought. Not as long as I did. Like, was it always brewing? Did I always see myself as an entrepreneur? No. But did I recently think about it when I became a mother? Yes. That's when I had that urge to have more flexibility.
Was it not a scary experience? I mean, the fact that you're living,
of course,
a day job,
financial stability, yes, and a very good job at it. I'm working for a giant insurance company. I'm at managerial level. So yes, it took a lot of back and forth. What are the advantages? What are the disadvantages? When I jumped boat, did I expect all that to happen? No, it was a lot. Emotionally, I went through a lot. I couldn't even, get myself out of bed. Number 2, starting up under your own brand and not just, being employed by a company. It's 2 different ball games.
Yeah.
Throughout the 5-6 years, yes, I have been poached to go back to institutions. Any day I can walk back and, get a full-time job. But I always say I didn't open up shop to close shop. I did this for the experience and to be flexible and present in my son's lives.
Yeah.
And what does Poya specializes more? What type of services do you actually offer? Because when I saw you had one of the interns, I think that graduated as well, and I think got employment full time. That was one of the success stories that I came across. Branding as well, and then I think you have worked with some of the biggest artists in the country as well. You managed to link them up with corporate. So what other services do you offer within the company? Yeah,
you wrapped it up. Basically what I've done in corporate is what I'm doing in my private capacity with my team. And not only that, it's by making sure that we assist startups, SMEs. And right now in the country, Poya Media is like one of the very few, if not the only company that specializes and dedicates itself to SMEs. You have your big agencies, fully fledged, where you have to have a lot of money to spend to really get out there. I'm yet to see a company that really specializes in SMEs and being flexible and customizing to be affordable for anyone that just starts up. If you do your whole, music gig, you don't have a lot of money just lying around to, put in a PR because you've got so many different expenses. Public relations, communications, stakeholder engagement, and CSR, CSI. We love to bring musical talent and entertainment and arts into the corporate boardroom. And I'm so glad that I think, corporate starting to realize the influence of those that have a following.
True.
Like you rightfully said, how did we manage to get 20,000 people at UNM Stadium year in, year out? How do we manage to keep on getting corporates to sponsor, knowing that there's a buy-in from the masses that we bring on behalf of my clients to the corporate to sell their banking services or to buy their beers or whatever, product they may have. So I think we've done pretty well. I'm not patting myself on my back, but I think that we're a game changer by bringing SME startups with the right corporates to make sure that businesses are smart. They don't have to work hard. I always say, I don't want to work every month feeling like I've been chasing rabbits. And at the end of the day, it's like, what did I work for? You know what I'm saying? So using your network and the corporate experience of over 10 years now, 17 years with corporates, it's very important to align and network and match people that have the potential and the talent with the corporates that have the funding. And that is a talent that you need to have to spot and link them that coincide with the same purpose and drive.
I think it's almost related to what we're talking about in terms of brand, not just as an artist, as a name, but also look at yourself as a brand. And now, if you cannot face corporate, face to face, somebody has to do it on your behalf.
Yeah.
Because now I'm trying to see now. Let's use the dog as an example. Because I know that's whom you were talking about.
Yep.
That's like possibly the biggest success story musically.
It is.
Personally,
consecutive
again,
years.
I'm just saying this objectively, but I feel like it's one of those events that kind of prove that there's a possibility, you know what I mean? The potential to have that perpetuated across the country was done through that show. Now, again, that's just my humble opinion.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Where are the women of your caliber?
They're everywhere. They're everywhere.
I'm not sure if they're everywhere because what's the English word? Accolade?
There are many.
What's the English word? Mr. English. It's accolade. Yeah. What is that?
Achievements.
When you have
Caliber.
achievements,
Okay.
Yeah.
What's the word?
So when you've got
It's
achievements,
accolade, it's like-
it's accolades, man. Like when you have
that
Okay.
word. You have a lot of those success stories, and you have studied, graduated, climbed. It seems as if you have seen it all and done it all in a short period of time. Because we knew you as a very young, cutie woman, still cute. And when we then started seeing you from the radio to the television to corporate, that was a short period of time, and that's why we then describe you as a woman of substance, is because we don't really get to see much of your type of woman. Where are they in this country?
Well, I need to, humble down and say thank you for that, Fidel.
Yeah.
I always say women that have substance don't always have to be on TV, radio, and be published every single day. Those women are the women that sell your campanas every single day. Those are the women that have to feed 10 children at the end of every day, send them to school. They don't have titles.
Yeah.
They're not known about. They're the unsung heroes. And many times when I take time to, mentor, and we can talk about mentorship in a bit as well. When you listen to other ladies' stories, you're like, God, you bless me so much. There's a woman that's going through more than what I'm going through. And she has so much more impact. So when you ask me, where are these women? They're everywhere. It's just that we don't praise, and we don't have the same kind of, let's say, stereotype of what a woman of substance is. Maybe because we have so many different definitions of what that means. We always want to have a CEO woman in the boardroom, in banks, in insurance companies. Why can't I be a CEO of Poya Media and still have that influence and still have that caliber? Because I think in our society, we have a certain image of what success looks like. Everybody's success looks different. It's your perception of it. Women of substance, there are many women doing great things. And the reason why I've decided to do internship and mentorship is that these are a lot of interns are women, because PR is a very feminine field. We probably had 20% of males trying to balance it up. But these are the same women that when they join Poya Media, they have no idea where they are. I can tell you right now, 90% of my interns have been employed by corporate. These are now women that have started up just in their final year doing degrees, that are now having managerial positions at UNDP. These are high, institutions, but sometimes we want environments to look corporate for us to be seen as she's made it.
Yeah.
I could probably be doing my PhD almost done, but a woman that didn't even finish grade 12 has more life skills experience than me, and that is a woman of substance. So they're everywhere, but we just need to applaud every unsung heroine for what she's doing on a daily basis.
Well, I think it's the point that we were talking about the other day that we need to bring in guests that people are not really expecting. I mean, bringing in a security guard woman,
Yeah.
you know, to come and tell us about her story, because I mean, these are the people that protect us
Yes.
when we have events,
Yeah.
and we just pass by her, and you know, she's in the rain, and at the end of the day, that she has bills to pay.
Yeah.
You know, I wanted to find out all this that you managed to build yourself. Are you still going to keep on climbing?
I think I've just gotten started.
In terms, you just got
Honestly
started.
speaking.
Yeah.
Also in starting to find out my real purpose. If somebody would have asked me 21 years ago, you know that question, where do you see yourself in the next 5 years?
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. Hate that
TV.
question.
On
Oh.
TV.
So 21 years ago, if you would have asked me, would I see myself running Poya Media? No. But that's the beauty of life.
Yeah.
You know, every day when you wake up, you know, I consult and I ask my man up there, God, what man, how do you want to use me today? What is it that you want to use me for? Honestly speaking, I think in corporate, you know, you've got such a fast-paced life. You are just living. You are so tired. You even sometimes forget to say a prayer before you go to bed. But entrepreneurship has really been a faith-based testing platform for me. I mean, I've grown up being very spiritual, but still fine-tuning my real purpose on where it is that I belong. Where is it that I need to be? I don't think Poya Media is my final destination. I think that there's something greater for me. I just don't know what it is yet. But I am enjoying and nurturing, embracing the moment that I'm in now.
Yeah.
Be it singing Take Your Time. Yes, that was my epitome of my career. I was so happy. That brought me joy for that, you know, moment in time.
Mhm.
But fast forward, was that really what I wanted to do? No. I'm now a mother. Your purpose changes when you have other children, depending on you.
True.
And what you can do and what you can't do. Unfortunately, there are a lot of limitations too with the role of being a mom, in a good way. And I'm not complaining about it. Yes, there are days where you want to pull your hair out, but it's part of parenthood, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm still trying to find out where it is that I need to be and why I jump boat. So I'm not there yet.
I want to ask your day to day,
Yeah.
Monday to Sunday. Sometimes I ask Franklin the same question what he does. This,
Yeah.
to me, so far, is the busiest man in the world.
Including his dog.
What he told me, what he does per day
You're like, woo!
is overwhelming. You know,
Yeah.
I was reading about, you know, something about what you do per day. Sometimes you wake up in the morning and then you gotta
Yeah.
take the kids to school.
Yep.
And then after that, I think there's somewhere in between where you need to go watch them play soccer
Yeah.
or it's rugby or
Yep.
something.
Soccer.
How was your day like? You know,
Very busy. From Monday to, let's say, Friday. You know, the good thing about being divorced is that every second weekend you're off. So I got my free weekends.
Oh, look what's bringing this up right now.
So, you know, every second weekend, it's important
Yeah.
to also spend time doing nothing. You know, being busy can be a very, very negative habit that you don't even realize that you are constantly busy. Your mind is constantly being on an overdrive. I'm guilty of that. I'm preaching, but I need to preach to myself. But I'm saying that because I'm acknowledging that sometimes there becomes a very unhealthy level of busyness, especially when you're a parent and you have other, you know, human beings that need your energy. They need your time. They need the best version of you. I've tried to learn, Fidel, how to sit still and not do something for 5 minutes.
Is that possible?
I've always it's difficult. It's hard.
Sorry.
But if you're conscious of it, you say, you know what? If somebody asks you to help out on a Saturday, I'm gonna say, you know what? Let me start saying no this year. I've decided to say more no's because I'm a giver. I give to the point where my cup really feels empty, and sometimes you really feel drained, and it's like you keep on giving because that's the way you are, right? But I've tried to be deliberate by saying, I'm so sorry, I can't squeeze you in the Saturday, even if I'm not doing anything, but that is me doing something to refill me. You get what I'm saying, Franklin?
Or else you're just overreaching. It's like a social structure that overreaches. You see what I mean? Generally, I feel at some point what it does, it fragments you. Then there's like this horrible disintegration. It is okay to not do anything because not doing anything is also something.
Yeah.
But I know I preach a lot. Is it to just be at home and just go? So I'm just in a sofa.
You get edgy. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just wrong.
You
So
should be
like
doing.
just the whole day. But it isn't because look, I think we've also taught this generation horribly. We've always taught people team no sleep. It's like, no, you need sleep.
Yes, thank
Like,
you.
you can't
I
function if
hate
you
that
don't sleep.
hashtag. Why do
Yeah.
people do that?
Yeah, it's like, what do you mean team no sleep? That's the worst advice I've ever
Exactly.
heard, man. Like, but I also understand it is also because like the cost of living is that high,
Yeah.
and so most of us generally would want to pursue things as opposed to like valuable things. There's certain things you can't put money to. For example, going to watch your sons play soccer.
Yeah.
There's not an amount of money you could ever place on top of that because that's a value that they will always orient themselves around,
True.
and that's you are raising young men that will grow up to realize the value of time. Most parents don't have that. Most parents are already totally exhausted. They feel like if I'm already giving you stuff, man, just get out of my head.
Yeah.
The danger with that is that you could have accumulated so much and you would have just been present as a biological body.
True.
That's the problem. So it's like that sort of balance, which is what we wanted to get into, is very, because one would think, look, why would you? It's okay for you to miss like 3-4 games, but it's like, yeah, those are 3-4 games you'll never get back.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. And kids don't forget.
No, they don't.
Yeah, kids will
They got
know.
very sharp memories.
Yeah, kids will know that, yeah, you never pitched
Remember?
that.
Mom, remember?
Yeah.
I'm like, yes, I remember. Yeah, remember? It's like, okay,
Serious.
I'm sorry for the 100th time. I'm sorry, my
Yeah.
son. But I
So-
hear you. I get you. And that's a very vital point. For me, what's most important now, it's exactly that, creating memories. Especially now that they're still so dependent on you. I mean, yes, when they become teenagers, they'll change. You know, they'll grow up. They'll become more independent. But while you can, and that's why I always say I'm so lucky that I can be doing literally what I love doing. I'm flexible at the moment. Yes, there are a lot of, financial tough moments, but something's got to give. Either
Yeah.
you're in corporate. I had a very good salary before I left, but I had very little time. Now it's like I've got, this flexibility, but I'm still
Something
making
just gotta
making
give,
it.
guys.
It's like always a catch-22.
But it's like, what's more important? You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Look, we've said this at the top, right?
I'm scared to lose my money.
What is more important? Again,
Are you a parent?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I got a little boy,
but
yeah,
it's one
man.
of those
I mean,
questions, man. Like, what is more
Yeah.
important, Fidel? You
Yeah,
see
no,
what
but
I
she has a
mean?
point
Don't say
because
money.
I think it's a fear for all men. That, when you lose your job, when you lose
Yeah.
a salary that pays your bills,
It's your
to
manhood.
get onto something that you love the most, something that you give to that, you kind of start realizing, how am I going to take care of myself?
Yeah.
You know, it's. I think we have that kind of fear because nobody wants to work, especially when you have ambitions, when you have ideas and goals, and
I
have
think
a
in the long
vision.
run, I mean, psychologically speaking, it's proven that after a while, what that starts to do this.
Yeah.
So this really interesting book, there are 12 Rules of Life, right? There's a research in that book which is a very weird one, but like I don't know why I read it, but I did. And so they found that like when women would make partners like in law firms, right? Like high in conscientious women would make partner at like say 26, 27, right? And that's the peak of their career. Somewhere like at 31 or like at 29 to 33, they quit. They just give a partnership because there's like, look, there's a bit more pressure to grow up on women than it is on guys. It's just
Of
it's a
course.
biological fluke.
Of course.
And so then they start realizing that, man, it's not that they sold a lie. It's just like there's something fundamentally valuable about family. Something that we will never be able to pin what do you call it? Like you can't put your finger on it. It's very difficult for me to ask you and explain to me why do you love your children. Like you can never. Like I know you do, but if you just there's just that value.
It's a born instinct.
It's a
you
born
know,
instinct.
as mothers, and that's why many times if you look at various examples, women are usually the ones that take the back end to allow the husband to build his career, for him to be successful, because again, it's a mother's role to be, she needs to take care of the family. She needs to be submissive, yes. And I've heard so many of Miles Monroe's lectures about what it means to be a woman. And of course, yes, I think the dynamics of a woman are changing a lot. The responsibilities. There's a lot of single mothers out there. There are a lot of divorced people out there. So, examples of what happened when our parents were, alive and, happy, it's different from the environment that we find ourselves
Today,
in. But one thing that always remains the same, a woman would always want to be taken care of, no matter what. I could be reaching my peak in my career, but I still want, by God's grace, to have a God-fearing man in my life that would be able to, care. I'm still about the woman saying, let me partner up. Let me help you to achieve what you want. I'm also not for that idea where it's like, okay, husband, you take care of everything and let me just sit and be a stay-at-home mom.
It's a partnership,
I've
man.
never been
Yeah,
that kind of woman before, and I don't think I'll ever be. But I think it's equally important to maintain and sustain having that 50-50 responsibility. And as a woman,
Mhm.
you have to educate yourself as much as you can. You have to do as much as you can. But again,
Mm.
your main fundamental role is to be a mother. Right now, if you ask me what is my biggest accolade right now, it's
Yeah.
being a mom.
Yeah, I just
It's
wanted
being
to
a
find
mother.
out how you're coping with that, being a single mom, because two boys, yeah.
Yeah. And they're quite busy. I will be honest.
I mean, with all this busy schedule of yours on a daily, and then
Yeah.
you have a family to take care of, and you're still trying to be the best woman. I mean, best mother to them as well.
I got Auntie Joey. It's like when I texted you, I'm like, Auntie Joey's on her way from Marito.
Yeah.
She's living in with me, so I might not make it.
Shaking that time.
But you need to put mechanisms in place to help you to achieve what you want.
Yeah.
I would have been burning out by now, Franklin. At least I have Auntie Joey that cooks and cleans, make sure that the house is in order. Make sure, like right now when I'm on air, my kids are tucked in bed. There's somebody at the house full time. I am fortunate that I do have an ex-husband that's a great co-parent. It didn't start that way, but we're at this level where we've matured so much that we do it for the sake of the kids.
True.
So that's why I say, oh, I got my every second weekend off. You need to have a great partnership, even with your
Yeah.
spouse that didn't work out, in order for you to benefit from. So being a co-parent, I have been blessed that I have a partner that plays his role in being present, very present in the kids' lives. But there will always be challenges with anything and everything.
True.
But yeah, I got my Red Bull, got
Yeah,
my energy
and I
24/7.
think we're also in a time where there's an expectation for substance to just find you, because that's the kind of people we are busy racing right now. That you see, you can't just have substance because you were it. Like I was at a show this one time, and it was this like 16-year-old, 17-year-old child, and she was talking about as a woman she goes through this, and I'm like, no. Like I don't like people who adopt ideologies and have no idea where the thing is coming from. You cannot claim substance when you do not work your way forward. It
Yes.
just doesn't
Exactly,
work
yeah.
that way.
Amen.
You know what I mean?
Oh,
It's just, but
yeah.
this is common stuff.
Yeah.
That's like you going to UNAM and never studying and expecting to pass.
Yeah.
It just doesn't. And like I think like what she was saying earlier, substance is very subjective. You know what I mean? Almost every other dude that grew up with a single mother would tell you like the most powerful human being in their lives is their mother,
mom. Yeah.
myself included. It's like I have seen this women work miracles.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm in a place where I can possibly afford to have, I don't know, 16 or however many people in my house, but I don't have the capacity. Whereas without a job,
Your mom made
she
it.
packs this house with like, and we're only two. So I'm like, everybody else was just extra. She never said no to a child. My mother's been adopting human beings my whole life.
Wow.
How does she do it? We don't know. Not a newspaper article, not
Yeah.
a TV interview,
Exactly.
not a radio interview, but most of what I am today is because I
because of
grew
her.
from her. You see
Yeah.
what I mean? And so they're there. They exist. There was a lady in Greenwell she's got an orphanage,
Yeah.
And so what she did, she had this really interesting story. And so around that year, I think in that year, like a lot of abortions and whatnot was happening in the area. So what she did is the same thing that the lady in Swakop did. She created like a little basket thing. It was called the basket baby.
For the baby dumping.
Yeah.
Or
yeah.
what? Okay.
Yeah, so and it's like a shack. So she would
Yeah.
she created like a little baby pram or whatever. She would just put it outside and had a note. If you don't want the child, put the child in here. And we went there to visit in this place. You'll cry, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? She finds a way to feed,
Wow.
and I'm not talking about like old kids. I'm talking about babies.
Mm.
There was like over 16 like children, like 1 month and whatnot.
Wow.
And I thought, why do you even do this? You don't work a formal job.
Mm.
You don't have somebody sponsoring you. Maybe God gives her like mana. I don't know, man. But like
It's purpose driven too.
it's purpose
It
driven.
is purpose driven.
Yeah.
Being a vessel.
Yeah,
That's
that's says,
yeah.
I mean, that's a I don't know whether you call it a sad story, but
It's a beautiful one, I
yeah, it's a
think.
beautiful story. Yeah, but I mean, looking at the definition itself, when we say woman of substance, because what it says here is a symbol of pride and strength.
Amen.
If she can cook
Yeah.
food for many,
Yeah.
and then she can fetch a fortune
Yeah.
as well.
Ah.
This is exactly what I mean. Taking care of children.
Yeah.
Mm.
But women are generally also like the center of orientation.
Yeah.
Like that's
Caregivers.
just how they're built.
Nurturing.
You know what I mean? Like guys generally guys are doers. You know what I mean? But you need somebody to bring order. That's kind of how it works. But I think over the years we've promoted more competition than we did collaboration. It's not a competition issue.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? A stay-at-home mom is just as equally valuable as a CEO.
Do you know, research has proven being a stay-at-home mom, it's, I think, about more than 50-60% stressful than a CEO in the boardroom. It takes a lot of work to discipline kids. It takes a lot of work to cook and clean.
Yeah.
That it's because, you know,
'Cause you are
again,
never off.
people see this
Mm.
as a very degrading kind, you know, of
Yeah.
a status in life, but it takes a really strong woman to, you know, do that kind of a job.
Yeah.
For those that prefer, you know, to be a stay-at-home mom. So there's nothing wrong with it. I think, again, it's what is your purpose and drive in life?
Mm.
You know, what gets you excited every single day leaving the house?
I want to take it back to gender-based violence.
Yep.
I don't want to bring this up, but you went through I don't know, call it drastic experience, yourself personally, and I just wanted to find out what have you learned out of that, you know, and how have you dealt with it?
Yeah.
And because I think you became, I think you started influencing more young people, you know, I think you started preaching about the issue of gender-based violence and at the same time mental health as well.
Mm.
So through your experience, how has that changed you from that moment until where you are today? And how has it made you, you know, a strong woman and still being able to stand on your own 2 feet and just move on and just say, I'm here, and I'm standing tall?
You know, when it comes to that subject, it's always sensitive, and I think I made a cautious decision in 2017. I mean, there were so many endorsements by saying being a brand ambassador, this and that and that. I always say, you can cry over spilt milk. You can tell your story, but it's spilt milk.
True.
Most important thing is that what you have done and decided to do with what has happened to you, it's what people should notice and follow the same actions, right? Let's be mindful. You still have children, right? You still have kids, and these kids still adore, you know, this person with all of their hearts. You have a level of respect to respect that person no matter what. This person still has a mother. This person still has a sister and siblings that you once and still have a close relationship with. Respect and still having dignity is the most important thing to have. I think in the African culture, we were always taught not to speak outside of your house, if you know what I mean. You know, if you have issues, okay, fine. I think it was very difficult for me because, you know, everything I've done was in the public eye, which is very difficult to run away from. But again, from 2017 up until now, it's gracefully saying, yes, I acknowledge it, but how do I move on? How do I set an example for my sons on what you should accept and what you should not accept? And you have based your decision to show your sons so that they do not replicate or do the same, and that they know that that was not supposed to happen. These are the conversations that we've had on Tupopieni a lot of evenings by hundreds of women can tell their story, but they still remain in that same abusive relationship. They still tolerate affairs. They still tolerate so much more, but they're still telling their stories. So it doesn't make sense. So if you've made up your mind and your decision about it, leave with dignity and respect and uphold that person, because you have a long way to go to co-parent. Co-parenting can only be as successful as it can where I am now if you respect that person for what has happened. Forget. So many times we want to forgive, but we still remember. And you cannot forgive if you don't forget. I struggled with that for the first year or two. But I've come to the point where you need to forget so many things that have happened to you. Otherwise, you're going to be holding grudges for such a long time, and you're going to become a bitter person that you don't even know that you're turning into. So respecting that individual, still appreciating them for the role that they play to make co-parenting work. But for women, it's very difficult. I think in an African society, women are forced to stay in their households again because they're being supported financially by this person. We're now realizing it's also the opposite. Men are being abused emotionally, physically, but men don't want to come out with it. So let's also have a playing field where we don't just victimize a certain group, you know, of people, but it happens to any one of us. The strongest people, the most outgoing people in the most affluent suburbs, in the most, you know, rural areas. It happens to everybody. But we just need to make sure that when we do move on, we still hold that reputation of that person in a high regard, the way that you want to as well.
Gender-based violence, how are you pushing for that?
I don't have to be on a billboard. I don't have to tell my story. I don't have to be in newspapers about it. But I think when a woman sees how you have gracefully brought yourself back up, focusing on your business and focusing on your kids, I think that tells a louder story than you telling what happened and A, B, C, and D, because that's not necessary.
True.
It's moving on, picking yourself up, dusting off your shoulders, and just being the best version of yourself for the sake of your kids. We always preach. I always say you cannot change a grown man or a grown woman. Conversation should start with children that are now the next generation of how the new household and family will be. Unfortunately, I think more kids are growing up in single, households. Like I'm either only with my mom or only with my dad.
And sometimes very dysfunctional too.
Yeah, thank you very much. And unfortunately, that's the way it is. But that's why it's very important for you to still have this healthy environment at your house and at your partner's house so that they don't feel deprived of the love from either parent, because we don't want to find a situation that we have now the future generation, the future leaders and kids that have no sense of belonging, no sense of identity. Not once do I want my sons to feel that they weren't loved as much because they haven't been brought up in a household with both of their parents under one roof. Gotta make it work. So it's difficult. It's easier said than done. If a woman, comes to me, and I've had a lot of those saying, how did you do that? How, and I always say, I can give you 10, 100 tips right now, but you will still remain. You will still stay there.
What is that a weakness in women?
Those are women that still go through it.
Financial issue that where am I going to get the money or to take care of myself and take care of my kids? And...
Mainly it's because of the kids. And I say, you know what? Yeah. You need to leave because of the sake of the kids. What's better? Being in an environment where your kids don't experience love from both partners, or it's constant arguing or constant fighting, or the husband degrading, or the mother always insulting the husband. No, you don't want kids to be growing up in that environment. There are many married couples that are living like single folks in one household. Do you know how painful that is? You know how messed up that is? But unfortunately, this is how we're growing up. My mom and dad made marriage seem so easy. I think sometimes they lied, because it's like, where do you find this kind of marriage? Where do you find this God-fearing? Well, I
think back in the day there was a seriousness to what the institution was, but apart from that, also there's people lack individual responsibility right now. Like so somebody had said, if you are incapable of violence, not being violent doesn't make you virtuous. Okay, it's the same argument we have when we're saying weak men are dangerous men. Okay, weakness not in vulnerability, because vulnerability, you will be vulnerable, you should be.
But vocalizing it, you mean?
Yeah, so weak men in the sense that the guy that goes and shoots up a school, that's a weak person.
Yeah.
That means that you need to be dangerous but formidable. Okay, so for example, your karate people, like these guys are trained martial arts.
Yeah.
Martial artists, right? But they would never use it. Mike Tyson is not caught in the street fighting people, but he's capable. So you must be capable of violence, learn to, learn to and not use it. That's virtuous. Because you are able to, you just don't. You see what I mean? And so most people, because we don't have individual responsibility, we are unable to orient ourselves well when we hit like specific walls. Because it's never really an issue. If you treat me with contempt right now, how I respond is not a you issue, it's my issue. So if you treat me with contempt, that's a you issue. Maybe you're suffering an insecurity, maybe you just don't like yourself, and I'm the outlet.
Yeah.
And I think many a times that's kind of the space we don't know how to then navigate properly. You know what I mean? Because sometimes we lord that responsibility. But hey, again, there is a greater responsibility for each gender, all right? And I think if those were cleared out well, it makes things easier, because then I don't have to compete with you. We just complement. You know what I mean? And so anyway, so it's one of those issues again that with substance comes discipline. It seems. It's just how it is. Because like you mentioned, you could have just taken your company, and then 3 years later, when you made like a good profit, you could have gone bankrupt. That takes discipline to run an entity and like maintain. That and maintain it. Yeah. You know what I mean? That's a much bigger substance, because how many business ideas did we have and that you started and the thing just died?
Like 2 months later.
Yeah, 2 months later. So that's a much bigger space of substance. Not only that, then you bring on people. I think the ability to be able to carry people, graduates, like you're saying, and sort of pave a way for them into a much bigger industry. That's a story that needs to be told. Because how many of us have those people? You know what I mean? That we say, look, you are a qualified engineer or whatever, come and do internship here, and I open the door for you. That's legacy, because that person at UNDP now is always gonna come back and say this is where home is.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of companies
Exactly,
like that.
yeah.
You know, but we most don't want
I
that.
mean, it's been a bad experience for me to leave on Godiva and not been
Mm.
able to train somebody on how to host a show.
Yeah.
So now they keep calling me back from Windhoek to say, no,
To go
Fidel,
back to
you need
train.
to come and host the show because nobody else can do it.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and I felt bad about it because I had enough time
To
be able
groom
to take
somebody.
young people.
You realize that
Have a
grooming is
successor,
yeah.
grooming is
Because now you take everything to
It's-
yourself and
it's
then now you leave
difficult,
that
yeah.
huge space.
But like Franklin said, you know what? It's leaving a legacy behind.
Yeah.
I think it also comes with a conversation of what's important to you, and this is a trend for many young Black individuals, and I'm including myself as well. You know, we have this tendency to show how much we've accumulated. You know, we want to show how much, you know, Mama, I've made it levels. But the moment you are able to, you know, pin down impact through someone, and when you are gone,
Mm.
and when all your wealth and riches are also left behind, allow someone to say, it's because of that company I was able to A, B, C, and D, like you said before. Because of my parents' work in the ministry, there have been so many blessings from me and my brother that I can't explain half of the stuff that I've been able to do because of my parents' ability to minister and do so much that are
Yeah.
now coming back to their offspring.
So you are a beneficiary.
So paving it forward, like
Yeah.
Franklin said, it's so important to be selfless. It's not about personal gratification or self-gain, but it's making sure that when my kids are still, you know, growing up, and God forbid that I'm not there to see it, that somebody would do them a favor because of what I have been able to do for them. And that for me
Beautiful,
is what I want to be remembered for, and to have my offspring benefit and their children as well.
Because look, so there's a shortcut to everything, right? It's the idea of substance and legacy is the same concept as telling a lie. Now people tell a lie because they want to circumvent the situation now.
Yeah.
But it's got a horrible long-term
Uh-huh.
pain.
Effect.
You know what I mean? That one guy who didn't tell Hitler to stop that movement,
Yeah.
he lied to that guy. But the thing with the truth is, it causes like momentary pain, but it's got like lifetime
Long effect.
Yes, lifetime long effect.
Yep.
And I
Yep.
think
Yep.
that it's one of those things. There's a difference between actual legacy and you just. It would be sad to just be said, "Oh, she was such a great PR,
Yeah.
had a PhD, she had a company, and she died."
And that's it.
Like,
Yeah.
bro,
And like all that wealth of knowledge, like my dad used to say, I don't want to be a library that's going down the grave. You know what that means? You studied so much, you got so much wisdom, but you haven't passed it on, and it's just
Yeah.
following you in the grave.
Yeah.
And that's the same example as well.
that is like all your ideas dies
Yeah.
with you, your visions, and I came to life. Yeah.
the I think that the refusal to share is what kills us also.
Mm,
You were never designed for self,
Yeah.
ever. You were designed to pour out.
true.
But anyway,
Tell us about being a director of communications
Yeah.
for the Global Chamber of Business.
Yeah. Wow, that was bestowed upon me, and I say that
Bestowed.
again. You know, like when you do your work and people notice it, broader than just in your own borders in Namibia. And again, when I say when you do such a lot of hard work, you don't do it for exposure, but when people notice it and it's unexpected, I think that's more, like that feeling where it's like, wow, your work is appreciated. So that came my way mid of last year. And again, we were trying to be deliberate, not only just focusing on Namibian clients, but going to Zimbabwe, going to Botswana, going to South Africa, going to, different African countries to also take our brand out, just not only in Namibia. There's so much more to see. And that's one of our strategies for this year as well.
Yeah.
Where else can we, lay a footprint? So many times we always want to learn, but how much do we have to learn to tell other people what
To make
we
impact.
have,
Yeah.
mastered? We can't just keep on getting. We need to say, but this is how, we've done it. Maybe we can customize the show. Sometimes we can also be, teachers and not just always students to other countries. So mid of last year, I was appointed as a director of global business chambers of business leaders. And it's really exposed not only just, my private capacity, but also business-wise all over the world, in your Asias, in the States, in everywhere else. And that's where other accolades came on, African leaders. And the moment you get one achievement, many people start noticing your work. many people start saying, hey, but you're now the director of, GCBL.
Mm.
Oh, now you are appointed as A, B, C, and D. And it keeps on growing and snowballing. And that's why when you ask me, do you think that I've done enough? I think this is the pinnacle. This is the part where I finally realize, why did I do all the things for the past 21 years? It's to
For
be
this
right here in the moment, to gear myself so that I have experience. If it would have happened 10, 15 years ago, I wouldn't have had enough knowledge. I wouldn't have had enough experience to do what I'm doing at the moment. So it's a constant communication with various countries, with a lot of delegates and CEOs and ambassadors, which really takes my work to a very professional level. I mean, we're always professional, but really to, that boardroom level under Apoya Media brand and my private capacity.
Oh, it's under...
Well, myself, but I mean,
yeah.
obviously with Ilka Platt, it always, benefits the company as well.
Yeah, because she
Apoya
is the
Media.
company.
You've been shortlisted
Yeah.
and selected as an honoree for the 12th edition of the African Achievers Awards. How did
Yeah.
that go?
Oh, that was great. I think
And the Emerging Public Relations Practitioner Award as well.
Correct.
Category, yeah.
Yes, so this happened in the UK. I think Twapeo was also nominated. Dr. Ndume was also nominated. Again, it's like bang, you get an email. I always verify. Is this legit? Is this fake? You know how people just want payments and it's like, okay, it's a scam. Please, guys, always verify. Because now I always say, you can get an award for anything. To be honest with you, like online, you'll read, this person is the best, that one is the one. I think that people are also starting to make, a money-making thing out of it because they know people will pay and people will, attend. So be very careful when you get such nominees and make sure that you're credited based on your merits and not because I can afford to have a one-pager in this magazine or I can afford to have, this in what platform. So that was a great honor as well. I was only a nominee. I didn't win that category. But again, it opens up other platforms for you so people can know about you, which was great. Job well done to Twapewa. She won in her category. She had the funds to fly to the UK. I didn't.
Is this for the...
Kadikwa, the entrepreneur. Yep.
I almost
yep,
said the
yep.
chicken lady.
Yeah.
Public Relations Institute of Southern Africa.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, which one is this?
Prisa.
Yeah, Prisa.
Yeah, so Prisa, it's the mother body of all PRs in the country. So this is the body that regulates every single thing around PR in Namibia. That I served as vice president and then the chair for a year, which was an awesome experience. Having all the PR professionals under one body and just being able to collaborate, network, share ideas. How can we improve as PROs? We still have challenges in our industry. We still face a lot of things that, PROs go through. So that also gives you a stamp of you are a professional in what you do.
Are you still doing the usual things like hosting events
Oh!
and getting back into the studio?
Singing,
do a bit of a song?
no.
What's
It's like when you play Take Your Time, I was like, oh, I can't believe it. I was
Back
so
in the
young
day.
and
Yeah.
innocent.
But in terms of corporate events, you're still hosting.
I still
suppose.
host. I mean, I
Yeah, we did it.
emceed at. It's been 21 years that I'm emceeing,
Yeah.
directing ceremonies. Your last is your best. So because of word of mouth referrals, people always ask, "Can you host this event?" And now it's becoming more of being a keynote speaker at events. So yeah. Still pushing on strong, and I appreciate people that still find me relevant up until today.
You are relevant.
And like you, Fidel and Franklin, thank you
Guys,
for inviting me.
this hour, man. This hour is
It flew
just-
by.
I know.
Oh my goodness.
It's crazy.
Just a little last touch
Yes.
on the issue of mental health.
Yeah.
We have lost so many in the industry, especially in the art,
Creatives,
in
yeah.
the creative industry.
Yeah.
And I think with this program that we've been doing with Franklin for the past few months, we've always tried to find out from the creators that comes into the studio as guests a message. What is it that we need to change? Is it our own perceptions, or is it just we need to keep talking about the same subject over and over? Is it something that we need to do differently? The mental health issue is becoming a major problem amongst creatives. So I don't know if you have any message from you specifically, because I mean you had your own.
I had my fair share, yes.
Yeah.
The good and the bad.
So how are we going to tackle this issue amongst the
I
creators? Yeah.
think it's the opposite. I think sometimes we talk too much. It's too much noise. This world is too busy. I mean, Fidel, when we started off 21 years ago in the industry, I love the fact that we didn't have social media because we could be what we wanted. We could do what we wanted without even fearing what would somebody say once it's online.
Yeah.
Give me one post, even your best person on this earth will get criticized. For those that don't have thick skin like we have developed in this industry, you would fear, you would not want to even attempt to do it. You wouldn't have the guts to do it because you're already thinking, what would other people say?
Yeah.
It's simple. We need to be kind. We have so many posts, mental health, do you, boo, what, peace. But it's the same people that would bring you down. It's the same people that would criticize you. Would be the same people that don't give you that hope and that support. Sometimes I think we're hypocrites. You know, we always say, hey, mental health is real, hashtag. Don't let it be a hashtag. We need to do what we are saying, and that's what we're not doing. We're criticizing. We're saying too much that people have lost who they really want to be and what they really want to do. I really feel so sad for my two sons because living up in this day and age, you've got so much negativity. You've got so many people just trying to wait for your fall down. Wait until something bad happens. Somebody gets married, it's an issue. If somebody has a divorce, it's an issue. If somebody gets a position, it's an issue. If somebody did this, everything is an issue.
And if somebody dies, it's also an issue.
It's also an issue. So you can never do anything right. And I say, if I were to be in the media tomorrow and there's negativity, it's human being, it's human nature. But allowing yourself not to get lost in the noise. Easier said than done, but sometimes you just need to switch off. I went offline on social media in my private capacity because, again, like you said, it was important for me to protect my privacy for what I was going through. I even went off Facebook, I think, when I started dating years ago because I wanted that privacy. And we've got this expectation to always flaunt what we don't have. We're not genuine with what we put out there, and we are living in a very superficial, artificial world. And I feel sorry for our generation because we don't know what realness is. So basically, being kind to the next person. If you don't have anything nice to say, don't say it at all. I mean, these are primary things we learned. You know what I'm saying? But we're not doing it because we're just all over the place trying to bring the next person down.
Beautiful.
It's madness, man. Yeah, this was really cool, man.
Thanks for having me, guys. And you know what? Job well done, Franklin, Fidel Odell. Opening conversations. And like I say, don't just have conversations. Let it spark the mind and change what you are doing. Because then it's wasting your hour being motivated, but then we still go back to the usual. So you need to implement what you were taught. So guys, job well done.
Thank you for coming through. National FM, this is where we at. Now Franklin's gonna be carrying over with the next show. You know, I wish I could stick around, but I gotta go and get my sleep on. You know,
you guys gotta go to your kids, bro. That's cute. That's
tomorrow
cute.
we got Maranatha.